We are live. I hope all of you are doing well. Very good evening. I hope you're able to hear me. Ankush, Bhagwan Tupe, Dhyaneshwar, Ganesh, Koshal, Sarvanan, Kishore, Satish, Maheshwar, Kundal, Sarveshwar, Satish, Sylvia, Surya, Venkat, Vinod, Prabhajit, Hemant. Good evening, everyone. Great. So, yeah, you're able to hear me? Yes, thank you very much. Okay, great. So, today, okay, so let's start the today's session. So let's start the today's session. Today, we'll focus upon the contingency plan and we'll learn what is this contingency plan and what is that which we need to do. If you see that the contingency plan was already there in previous version of TS 16949 2009, but if you see about contingency, what do you mean by contingency? So when you say contingency, that means there has to be some alternate, right? What's the alternate available to like certain uh, area, like certain area? They have defined like there has to be alternate for certain area. What's the area? We'll talk about that. Let me give you a very small example, and this is a very practical example. Once what happened, there was a marriage of one boy, marriage of one adult, and what happened in his marriage? You think about this, right? That they have to in when they go for a marriage, or there's a huge number of people, and then they will dance, and the boy family will go from and friends will go from location A to location B, and that A location is where they will start dancing in Indian tradition. There is a lot of lightning and with generator that works with that, and then they will reach to a marriage location where the marriage is planned. So there is always a distance of around 1 kilometer or so. So what happened that that everything was going well, everything was great, and what happened after just 100 meter, they have just covered 100-meter distance. Everyone was dancing, everyone was enjoying, and think about this like a situation, a marriage situation, like where everyone was happy. What happened suddenly? Just when the that barat we say, right, that number of people along with that this band and that that whole group, just after they have covered the 100 meter, the suddenly the light went off and there was like complete darkness. What happened? Oh my god. Okay. Oh, the generator has stopped working. What? The generator has stopped working. Why generator has stopped working? Because the fuse has been blown away, right? The fuse is blown away. Okay, that's okay. But where is the alternate fuse? Do you have alternate fuse? Yes, we have alternate fuse. Okay, so these are the we had two alternate fuse. Okay, and what's the problem? Use that two alternate fuse. Oh my God, these none of these fuse are not working. Fuse not working. Not working. What? What to do? People are willing to dance and they need this lightning. They need this DJ. Okay, so what to do? And suddenly there was a kind of chaos, and these people, these band people, they started running, and it was late in the night, so the shops were closed. They had to go to their place, and this took almost like around 30 minutes of time, and you can perhaps imagine about this, right? And people stopped dancing. Some people were dancing in the mobile light. Some after that even people stopped dancing, and it was a bad experience. And when the whole family was about to reach after half an hour, and they were just about to reach the marriage place, then the everything became normal, and then the alternate fuse was arranged, right? So this is a real incidents which I shared with you. Now think about the family of boy. Think about it, boy, right? Everything was good. The food was good. There was a good arrangement. Everything was excellent. But what happened? Like only one thing. This one thing has gone wrong. So people, right? They look for wrong things first, right? So now my question is, who's at fault? Who's at fault? Is it that banned person? He should not be given money, or is that the boy family has not verified that banned people should have kept the alternate fuse? Who's at fault, right? So this is a very typical question, and this is also happening not there. This is also happening in even in our organization. So yes, you will say that basically the people, the people who are responsible for this management, the band management people who are looking after this electrical arrangement and this generator, what they should have done, what they should have done, what they should have done. They should have like they had this alternate. It's not that they didn't have the alternate. They had alternative fuels which were available, but what they have not done, they have not tested those. They have not. They didn't had any verification method. They didn't have any like who is responsible for the verification of that. So that was a big issue. Okay. So this is a real story I shared with you. So what I mean to say that just alternate is not just enough. You say that, okay, I have the alternate. Alternate is not just enough. What is also required, which is also required in IATF 16949, that if you have alternate, whatever alternate is there, that has to be like tested. There has to be someone who should be responsible for that, right? So this is a requirement. So I hope you will always remember this. I'll tell you one more quick story, and this is a real, by the way, real story. Like customer has written in his alternate as an alternate arrangement. He has written that for me, the main equipment for my if my electricity went off is diesel generator. So I had that diesel generator one. Now my alternate, they have mentioned like alternate arrangement is what's the alternate arrangement? So alternate arrangement they have mentioned as DG2, and this is what they have mentioned, right? They have just mentioned this main equipment diesel generator one. We have this alternate arrangement for utility diesel generator two. This is what they have mentioned. So customer came for audit, right? Customer came for audit and he asked this quality guy, okay, you have mentioned the DG2. When did you purchase? He said, sir, almost it's been 5-6 months we have purchased. Okay, take me to that diesel generator. Okay, good. The quality person has taken the customer to diesel generator, where this diesel generator 2 was located. Now the customer asked, okay, let the run this DG2, run this DG2 in front of me. So the quality guy called, the maintenance guy comes. Sir is calling. He's telling, come fast. Okay, the maintenance guy went there, and then customer said, run this DG in front of me. And the maintenance guy was shivering. He was fearful. He said, sir, actually we have bought this DG 6 months back, but there were some parts which had to be bought, and there was some issue. So I cannot run this DG. What? You cannot run this DG to alternate? You have mentioned this as a contingency. So what's the use of that contingency? By mentioning in your document, you have submitted this to us almost 5 to 6 months back. So what's the use of that? Did you understand? So when you say contingency, that's alternate. There are certain areas where the alternate is defined. What's most important is this, that if you might have defined the alternate, but if your alternate is not working, there is no simulation, no testing, then there won't be any benefit. There won't be any, I can say the outcome, or there won't be any like use of that alternate, use of that contingency. So that is something which is actually covered in this particular clause. So what we are going to do, we are going to study about this. What's the requirements? So you see, this is a clause which is given in 6123, which talks about contingency. The organization shall identify, evaluate, and like what kind of contingency, internal and external. So internal within the organization, external outside the organization. It could be like your suppliers. It could be external. You are recurring some natural disaster, that could be external, right? So you need to identify that. So what I'm going to do, like I will take you to the sanction interpretation. So what is this sanction interpretation? So sanction interpretation, some of you might not be aware, like sanction interpretation are basically like small updates. So what is sanction interpretation? So sanction interpretation are the small updates with respect to IATF. So whatever is given in the sanction interpretation, so that is something you also need to follow. So what we are going to do, basically what we are going to do, so we'll not, this is not updated one. So I'll take you to sanction interpretation directly. So let us go to sanction interpretation. So where you will find the sanction interpretation, you will find the sanction interpretation in the IATF Global Oversight.org. So let me tell you that how you will get that. So if you go to IATF you click on this and you come to the sanction interpretation. So whatever is the latest sanction interpretation, you just click here and you can see the download that latest sanction interpretation. So I don't know, maybe at the time when you're watching this video, there might be new sanction interpretation. So you always refer new sanction interpretation. You click this and you'll be able to open this one new window. And that is basically a sanction interpretation, right? So what are sanction interpretation? Sanction interpretation are these small updates with respect to IATF standard. So whatever is mentioned in the sanction interpretation, that is something which you need to follow. And the changes are highlighted in color blue. Something which is not applicable is strike through. Okay. So let us go to this particular clause requirement. So in this particular clause, which talks about the contingency, there are some changes. What are those changes? So we'll also look at that. If you see, okay, so A and B, okay, so if you see clause 6.123, A and B, okay, there are no changes. Okay, so it means the A and B does not have any changes. So we can safely go to A and B. We can refer A and B from this particular main standard. So A and B does not have any change. Okay. So A and B does not have, okay, so I'll just do this. A and B does not, I will highlight this. A and B does not have any change. So what do you need to do? You need to like identify, you need to find out what is the contingency, and you also need to evaluate how to evaluate. Like we'll see, like there may be some system wherein you can identify if your contingency is effective or not. Internal and external risk, right, to your all manufacturing process and infrastructure, which is required for what purpose? To maintain production output so that your production is smooth, so that you don't have any delivery issues, so that you don't have any failure issue, right? That is what you need to do. And make sure that customer requirements are met. So what's your purpose? You want that you should have continuous production, consistent quality, and you have like you should be able to meet the customer requirements. So that should be your main purpose. That should be your main goal. You need to define the contingency plan according to risk and impact to customers. So then you define this contingency plan. I'll also show you a case study. Now, if you see from C requirements, so let me go and refer to that particular sanction interpretation, because that's the latest requirements. Okay, so if you can see, I believe, let me enlarge this. Okay, so here it says that these are the color which is given in blue is a new requirement. So prepare contingency. You need to have the contingency, that prepare the contingency for continuity of supply in the event of any of the following. So in the event of any of the following, that means for these situations, you need to identify the contingency. So, but not limited to. So when we say but not limited to, that means these requirements must be covered. Other than this, you may cover other requirement as well, right? So when you say but not limited to, that always means that for this area, you should cover the like contingency, right? But you may have contingency for other area as you think is important. Okay, so what are those requirements? What are those area? So key equipment failure, okay. Interruption from externally provided product, process, and services, basically your suppliers, like any interruption from them. Recurring natural disaster, which is happening on regular basis, like flood or earthquake. If your area is prone to that, your area has like more natural disasters. If that's recurring, happening every 2, 3 year, 5 year, that we can say recurring. Fire, pandemics, yes, so you can see pandemic is added. Utility interruption, utility means your water supply, your air supply, your electricity supply. Like for example, utility, I talked about diesel generator is an example of your alternate to electricity, and your diesel generator 2 is again an example of alternate to your diesel generator 1. If diesel generator 1 is not working, then diesel generator 2 can help. They have added this cyber attack, you know very well. Now cyber attack is a very big threat, right? Labor shortage or infrastructure disruption. So you need to identify, right? So if you see, like one thing which may also come to your mind, what is the difference between risk analysis for QMS and contingency? So if you see, contingency planning is also a kind of risk analysis. Contingency plan is also a risk mitigation tool or risk analysis. But what is the difference? Like when you say risk analysis, basically it's a bigger umbrella. I mean, contingency is a part of this risk analysis. Only thing is that when you talk about risk analysis, it can be done through, it can be done for QMS, quality management system. It can be done for as FMEA, failure mode effect analysis, and it should be done through contingency planning for certain area which has been identified. So if we talk about risk analysis, yes, contingency is a risk analysis tool. And in contingency for certain area, the risk need to be identified. But if you say in contingency for like risk analysis for QMS, quality management system, that has to be separately done. You can also look at, there are like videos available in my YouTube channel. You can also see, somewhere there will be a proper explanation of risk analysis for quality management system with example and case study. FMEA, definitely, yes, it's a separate focus area for failure mode effect analysis, which is more focused on the product specific, and your process flow diagram specific defects. But when it comes to contingency, it's defined for specific area. What are these areas which has been mentioned in front of you, right? So what is added? Like you see, the recent edition has been pandemics. The recent edition has been cyber attack. That's a recent addition. So that means you also need to update your contingency planning, okay, accordingly. Now, if you see, there's a further requirement. What is that? Include as a supplement to contingency plan a notification process. What do you mean a notification process? So whenever this contingency is happening, whenever you are like provoking the alternate system or the alternate system is working, you need to give the notification, information to customer or the interested parties, whosoever is a stakeholder, that yes, this is a contingency. We are working in the contingency and this is the duration of contingency, right? Although less people will inform that, but definitely that's the requirement. So why do you need to inform? So that other people are aware that your company is working on that contingency, your company has effective contingency, so they also know that even I recommend that you have this, alternate, if you do work in the contingency, you not only inform, but you can also manage this change in the update the change in the forum management, change management. So you can note it down. Yes, the company has worked in the contingency, for this duration, so that maybe in future that it can help you if there are any rejection or complaints. It can help you. Let's say for an example that you have compressor like regular compressor, but now alternate compressor is running. So you may decide to like note down the some data that your company is working on alternate compressor, right? And it might be that alternate compressor might not be that might have some issue, right? So although it is not essential, like what I am talking is additional, like from my mind. So if you want to really strengthen your system, this is what I'm talking. But it's totally not optional. It's totally optional that you definitely have to test the contingency, but it's not that you have to mention contingency situation in the forum change. If you do that, it's good. If not, then it's okay. If that's not the IATF requirement. So, but what should be there? Like whenever you are working in the contingency planning, or whenever you are working, you have like initiated the contingency, the customer or the relevant interested party need to be informed. How you can inform? By email, by phone, by SMS, by call, whatever method like you identify. And that also you need to identify in your tender opening procedure. So what's the new requirement? So here specifically, let's focus on new requirement. New requirement is this one, like test the contingency plan for effectiveness. So what is required that you need to test if your contingency is working or not? So there should be some testing method. I'll also show you case study and activity so that you get more better understanding. So it says that new requirement is cyber security testing may include simulation of cyber attack. You may simulate that yes, cyber attack has been done, cyber attack is there. Do you have the alternate? Have you taken the backup? If backup is taken, then where the backup is taken, if you're able to retrieve the backup or not. Or there could be regular monitoring of specific threat. For example, there could be, you may run the antivirus and can see if antivirus is expired or not. Antivirus is effectively running on the whatever computer you believe should come under that threat, and might the data of those computer might be relevant or might be important. For example, quality data, production, or maybe engineering, drawing. Okay, those data, engineering data, are more specifically more confidential, more important data. Okay, Identify dependency and prioritization of vulnerabilities. What could be vulnerabilities? Like you may block like pen drive. There are some companies who block pen drive. They don't allow pen drive. They block the pen drive, or they block certain websites from their server. You may not be able to access that. So whatever is that, right? You identify. The testing is appropriate to risk. What kind of testing? It depends, like what kind of risk it can result can cause to your customer. If that can cause disruption to your customer, then there are higher risk. You definitely need to have higher like testing levels, right? Whatever it is. So yes, so what you need to identify is make sure that you periodically test, right? Contingency plan may be managed internally by the organization or subcontractors. In some organization, you may not have that competence. In that case, you may outsource this to some external party, or if you have internal IT, information technology department, they generally takes care of that. Conduct contingency plan review. So yes, there should be a review frequency. What is that review frequency? A review frequency is a yearly. At minimum, you should review this on yearly basis with the cross-functional team approach. And top management should also be involved, and they should be updated, right? Top management should also know. Maybe you can monthly update them that this is the contingency and this is the status, or they may also themselves be a part of that meeting or simulation or testing. Document, most important, document the contingency, retain documented information describing any revision, including the person who authorized the change. If you're doing any changes in the contingency planning, right? So make sure that whosoever is authorized, like that person approval need to be taken. It's not that anyone can take the contingency planning. Including the contingency plan, the development and implementation of appropriate employee training and awareness. That's a new requirement. So what do you need to simply do? That basically what they want, that people should be aware how contingency planning should be should work, right? And if people are competent or not. So my like simple suggestion will be take this competence in the competence matrix, mention that contingency planning as your plan in the skill matrix. So that's something which you can do easily. That will also help you, right, to get more clarity. And if you include basically contingency planning as a training need identification, and make sure that it's there in the skill matrix of different concerned people, so that is something you can do. You will be able to address this point. Okay, so contingency plan last point shall include provision to validate that manufacturing product continues to meet customer specification after restart of production following an emergency in which production was stopped, and if the regular shutdown process not followed. So what it says that once you have came back to the regular manufacturing process or regular, the regular activities or the main equipment, then you should see that it should not impact your product quality. So the best thing is that if you like, let's say you are in contingency, you have this, you are in some contingency, right? You came to some contingency, a contingency situation. You came to a contingency situation. In that, what you can do, you can say that, okay, I will do this approval system, right? There should be an approval system, like first with approval, right? In the similar way, like you do in the petrol inspection, there could be a first with approval. Or when you come back to the original, like the regular process, then also you can say that I will do this inspection. There should be some approval system, or there should be some methodology, right? So this is what I'm giving an example. So what do I mean to say that? So whenever you are restarting the production, like following after an emergency it was stopped, so you must see that the manufacturing product should continue to meet the customer specification. This is very, very important, right? So when you come to a contingency, let's say I gave you an example. Let's say that you have this main is compressor 1. So you have this compressor 1, right? And now you are using this compressor 2, right? So let's say in both the case, basically in both the case, you can safer side. When you come to compressor 2, then definitely you should check that if the outcome which compressor 2 is giving, if you have that final outcome or not, it should not impact your like customer specification, or it should not result into any defects. Let's say compressor 2 itself is not producing that enough pressure, which is not causing your riveting to happen properly, or which is not causing your joining process So that may result into a defect. Or let's say you, when you come back to the, from compressor 1 to come for compressor 2 to compressor 1, after let's say you're done, compressor 1 repair, or compressor 1 now came into service. So you should make sure that, the product which is you are producing should meet the manufacturing product requirement. So in general, people don't do it separately. They simply say that whenever we'll have contingency, we'll make sure that we have this review mechanism, and we have this, if that affects product quality, we'll have this petrol inspection, or every 2 hours or every 1 hour, or when we go change contingency, then we test that petrol inspection or some first part approval system. That will be good enough, right? So what is required in this contingency? The main thing is contingency is not dead, contingency is live. It's not dead. In the previous standard, TS 16949, you just had to make the list of contingency, list of alternate, that's it. But here you not only need to make that list of contingency, there are multiple things you need to make. And what are those multiple things? Let me show you a case study so that you get more understanding. So I'm going to show you a case study so that you get more understanding. So here is the case study. Let's see this Excel sheet. So this is a very, very simple Excel sheet which I have made and which has been used by different organizations. Here what you see, the beauty is right, this contingency planning can be used as single sheet by multiple departments, or what you can also do, you can also give this to multiple departments. Let's say, take an example. What is that you take? Like for what? Utility failure at plant level, main equipment area, DG1, diesel generator 1, alternate equipment, diesel generator 2, utility failure, compressor 1, compressor 2, like that you can take different contingency, okay? Now here you see like, what is newly added? This is a new requirement, and this is something which is very, very important, right? This is a new requirement which is not there, right? So here you need to focus upon, what you need to focus upon this. Let me enlarge this. Okay, I hope you are able to see this, right? So what you need to do, this is a new requirement. So you should have some testing frequency, which is not like compulsory earlier. What's that testing frequency? At what frequency you are going to test the diesel generator 2? You cannot go beyond 1 year. That's the requirement, right? But yes, you can go monthly or quarterly, whatever is frequency you can define, but you cannot go beyond 1 year. What's the testing method? How you will check that? By running or by some simulation testing? Who is responsible? What's the due date? What's the actual date? What's next due date? Do you find any issue? You can write that issue. And most important, where will you document this contingency? So you say that, okay, what's the status and where is the record? So records have a maintenance logbook. So what's the proof that you did this contingency, right? You test this contingency. So what is required? That not only you identify the contingency, you basically have this testing frequency, testing method. It could be your own testing method. You can have some work instruction. Here you can give that work instruction as a reference. Who's responsible? What's the due date? Check date. What's the result? What's the status? What's the record? Evidence for that. In a similar way, like you can make this. I've given you this as an example. If you see, like the IATF templates are available to members, those who are like paid members, those who are part of our training program. So if you want to become part of our training, I will appreciate that you can visit www.submastery.com, submastery.com, and you can also look at the number of different courses are available. We have thousands of professionals who have undergone through these courses, right? So if you're loving this, if you're liking this, I will appreciate that you basically, visit the website and be a part of our membership, and you will get this lot of editable templates with clause-wise study, and you'll become master in the documentation and also will become strong in the clauses along with the example and case studies and activities, right? So do share this with your friends in the Facebook or WhatsApp or in your official company group, so that your friends and your senior, junior, they also get to know about contingency. What is contingency? How to implement this clause? They'll also get to know, right? This is very, very important. Okay, so one thing, yes, now before we end, let me also tell you that how you are going to implement this clause. So if you see, yes, do you need documented information? Absolutely, you need documented information in terms of, you can make this contingency planning. The sheet I've given you, I've shown you for reference. You can follow any other format, so whatever you believe is okay. But make sure that you have this testing frequency, testing plan, testing methods, and responsibility, due date, check date, and you can, this can be made separately by different department heads or different department. For example, IT can make on their own, maintenance can make for their own, right? And the HR, human resource, can make for their own area, like labor shortage or recurring natural disaster or pandemic, right? That's what can be done. So how to implement this clause? Identify the key equipment failure or natural disaster. Add the cyber attack fire utility. I've shown you that sanction interpretation. Identify what's the alternate method within or outside the organization. You can, yes, even outsource those activities. If you can't afford alternate diesel generator, you can also at least have arrangement that, yes, I have arrangement and have tied up so that I can immediately get diesel generator on rent. That's what also you can do. Check this contingency at decided frequency and make sure that you have testing method, testing frequency with the responsible person who is going to implement this contingency, who is going to test this contingency. So that's a requirement, right? So I hope you love this small information and knowledge, right? So this is a bite-sized learning and part of our SubMastery knowledge series. Do share this with your friends, right? In Facebook, in WhatsApp, so that they can also get benefit out of this. Do like this video if you're watching this in YouTube or Facebook or whatever channel, right? So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this small knowledge and information in bit-sized learning. And thank you. Thanks a lot. Arun Sharma signing off from SubMastery. Thanks. Okay, so as promised, like we are doing this on a daily basis, and yes, a March month we will carry out this activity where every day 10 p.m. I'll come, I'll take some topic, I'll explain the topic. If you have any question, please let me know. You can unmute, you can also yeah, thank you very much. Antonio Torres. Antonio, where are you from? Yeah, Karthikeyan, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's a very small presentation on this contingency planning because there are a lot of confusion which people have. If you have any confusion, please let me know. Pandemic, like you can simply, for example, can also make it a part of risk analysis. Pandemic, like for example, contingency could be work from home. Like you can have some people wherever possible, they can work from home as a hybrid wherever possible. Not all people may not be able to work. But yes, like few other people, you can also work from home, and you can have this, testing methods like temperature checking. All that things can also happen. You can also run your run your line with less number of people, right? Not 10, even 5 number of people, and can see what's the output. You can do this kind of thing. Yeah, definitely, Satish. Yeah, thanks, Satish. I appreciate that. Yeah. Antonio, we have basically, you can send them. No, I don't want to send you your email. I'm asking where are you from. Yeah, I'm just asking where are you from. Yeah, Mulale Patel, for small auto ancillary, how to fulfill cyber attack requirement. Very good question. So what you can do, you can simply take backup, right? And backup in the maybe 2 TB or 3 TB or 4 TB, you can simply get that terabyte external drive and you can do it on weekly basis. Simple, right? You do not do, you can't buy heavy server and there's no need to do that. You can simply, this is what has been done by many companies, many small scale companies. Simply identify what's the confidential data, what's the critical data, and take that backup on daily or weekly basis. That's it. Because this will help you. Believe me, this happened with me when there was ransomware attack, and because I had my data in cloud, but cloud, even data in cloud got disturbed, cloud got affected. Then I had this external drive which saved me a lot of my work. So it's always good to take external backup, or you can do data in cloud also, but I advise you take external backup. How much it will cost? Maybe I believe 5K, 7K. That's it. Or maybe 10, 15K. It's not that big. Yeah. Patel, did you get your answer? If people can outsource it, it's good. If not, then that's a minimum they can do. Yeah. If you got your answer? Bhagwan, it's a part of your thing. Yeah, of course. That's good, Manal. Of course, it's good. Thank you very much. Can you Excel sheet of Bhagwan to pay if you're part of our core tool training, right? Then we already have that. If you're part of a Quality Plus membership, we basically share with them. So it's a part of our training program. Like, yeah. If you're already part of a Quality Plus training program, you will find as per the schedule when we launch this core tool program, when it will come in the batch 3. We are already running that. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope friends you enjoyed this program. Tomorrow also we'll do program, and then after tomorrow we'll have different program on Six Sigma, basically, right? We'll do on Six Sigma, right? Yeah. So our Six Sigma training is launching on next week. So we are launching Six Sigma next to next week. We are launching Six Sigma. Yeah. Six Sigma new batch, which will be conducted by one of our master black belt coach Ashish sir. He'll be conducting that, right? And if you are interested, you can fill up that form we have shared in the WhatsApp group also, so you can be a part of that. That program will start from next week, basically 20th of March. That program will start. Green belt, black belt, yes, that program will start. So if you're interested, you can fill up that form. Our team can reach out to you. Thank you very much. Mahesh, Manale Patel, Nitin Papulal, Parvnesh, Mishra, Praveen, Sahil, Samrat, Satish, yeah, Super Dude, yeah, Silva, Ulas, Vinod, Kiran, Mahesh. Thank you very much. Good night. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks. Good night.